Hello, welcome to my home. My name is Jackie. I'm going to try a new lipstick today. Let's see if I can find it. I've been moving stuff so much I can't find anything, it seems like. And every time I say, this will make sense if I move it over here, and then I never find it again. So let's try this one. I'm actually looking for a set of lipsticks I bought, and I cannot find them. But let's try this. Has fragrance. The very stiff, low wax, or I should say high wax. It's a good color. It's not bad. It doesn't look like the color on me. Maybe not so much with a shirt, but I tend to like the berries and the pink. Sometimes I haven't worn pink in a long time. I tend to wear mostly berries. I'm just now getting into reds. I'm kind of new to the reds. And then, anyway, let's get to this unboxing. So I had a really rotten day, pretty much last Sunday. Okay. And I was on my Facebook groups, one of the three I'm on, and this is one of the few that I think I'm a moderator on. So I'm on there all the time. And all I'm really doing is interacting, which is what I do anyway, all the time. And this one lady kept posting this bag, and I love this bag. So I kept saying it's gorgeous, but I can't afford it right now. I can't afford it right now, period. There's no if, ands, or buts. So she, and it kept coming back up and keep coming posted. It's like still available. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. I love it, And she texted me Sunday night, and she said, I feel God talking to me, and I feel like I should give this to you. And I'm like, what? Give it to me? Like, give? I'm like, well, then we start talking and chatting. I'm like, well, if you really want to give me a bag, are you sure? Like, I'll trade a bag. And she's like, no, I just want to give this to you. She tried selling it to 3 different people, and 3 different people had said, yes, I want to buy it, and then 3 different people bailed on it, and she finally decided, I'm just going to give this away. And for some reason, my commenting on her posts, she sees me commenting, she said, I want to give this to you. It looks like you really love these bags, which, I do. So it came in the mail today. So let's take a look. So it is in this giant box. I feel even guilty for the amount of postage she had to mail this with. This was $26 to mail. It's not inexpensive to mail. I mean, for me, $26 is gas. It's food. It's not casual pocket money anymore. It used to be casual pocket money. Now it's like every dollar has to scream and then some. But let's take a look. So I need to open this in such a way I don't flash everybody addresses, which I learned the hard way. So there is a note. Let's take a look at the note. It's really cute. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love these notes. This is all you need is love. Enjoy this beauty. God bless, Erin. Thank you, Erin. Thank you so much. You're awesome. And by the way, we are now Facebook friends, and she lives in a state I'm going to be visiting soon, so we're going to go, hopefully I can meet up with her. But this beauty, and I'm talking beauty, she gave me. This is a several $100 bag, guys. Many hundreds. Not just 100, many hundreds. This is the regular size. There's a large size. I think this is the one from, this is the traditional. This is the size. I don't have this in black. I only have this in natural, and I also bought it used. This is much better than the bag I have. I have the larger version, the large satchel that I traded with my friend Tema for, and this is just gifted to me. I love this. I love this so much. I can't even explain. This is Florentine leather with the whip stitching. This is a most beautiful, beautiful bag. I was literally on the I Love Dooney site, or no, the Dooney and Bourke site today, looking at a Florentine satchel this size in navy, and it was $400 on sale. So when I tell you these are this is a very extremely generous gift. Just the shipping alone to me was generous. This is a very generous gift. And I absolutely appreciate it. This bag will never, ever leave my collection. Most of the gift bags I get don't, because they're gifted to me and I have sentimental value to those bags. So I just wanted to show everybody this most beautiful, glorious bag. The Dooney and Bourke satchels, the Florentine leather has 24 karat plated gold hardware. Oh, hey, I got a gift too. This is, oh, nice. Thank you. This is awesome. This is the NIV, Journaling the Word, New Testament. That is cool. That is so cool. So it has the New Testament and then space for writing. That is super awesome. I will use this. I have my Bible, my Sunday school. Guys, if you're unaware, I am religious. So maybe this might be a good time if you want here for the unbagging or unboxing. Thank you. If you want to hear story time, hang out. So story time is religious talk. So if that's not your jam, I'm not offended if you leave. So somebody had asked me in my comments on one of my first few videos, how did I guess my religious story, or my Christian story, my Bible story, how did I become a Christian? Because I was raised Buddhist. My father was a Baptist, but never baptized. His parents were Baptist. My mother is Buddhist, Theravada Buddhist from Thailand. And so we were kind of raised in between. My father had gone to Vietnam, and in the Vietnam War, he had decided that religion, he stopped believing, right? And not that, I don't know if he ever really was a serious believer. He did believe in God, but Christ was a different thing for him. But that's his story. So my story was, growing up Buddhist and we never really went to church. We went to temples as when we were living in Thailand. And we would go to all the festivals, but I didn't really understand a lot of the teachings or doctrines within the temple and the monasteries themselves, because my mom would explain things, but we were children, you explain to children. And then we moved to America, and then everybody was Christian. We moved to Michigan, and I'm like, what the heck is Christianity? And I was on the playground, we were in Michigan living on a military base, and I was at the playground, and this little girl, Reagan, came to the playground. She lived off the square, and she said, let me take my glasses off so you don't get the glare. So she said, we were talking just like kids do. I mean, I think I'm 11. She was like, well, do you know who Jesus Christ is? And I'm like, no. I'm like, who's Jesus? Literally did not know. I knew I'd seen the Bible. I'd seen, like, the cross. I'd seen Jesus, but I didn't know that was Jesus, and so she was telling me about Jesus Christ, and I'm like, wow, this floored, right? And these are kids telling kids, so it's not like high level, it's just like kids. And I says, well, I said, Reagan, well, if I die, and as a kid, because I was a kid, I says, if I didn't know about Jesus, I would go to heaven? She's like, yes, but now that you told me about Jesus, if I die, I don't go to heaven? And she's like, yes. I said, then Reagan, why did you tell me? So she was like, she had that look of, oh, I don't know. So that was my first introduction to Jesus Christ, right? And then, growing up on the military base, and then never attending any church at all, because my father didn't go to church. We'd seen Easter stuff, and we just thought Easter was bunnies and cakes and candies, and I asked questions, and then I'd go visit my grandmother. My grandmother lived in Texas. We were in Michigan, so it was not very often, and she's Baptist, and she would take us to the Baptist church, and we'd go get stuck in Sunday school, and in Sunday school, they were reading the lessons or whatever, and they said, and the apostles, and I'm like, being me, I'm like, what's apostles? And then they had to stop and explain, and then I said, who is John? Basically I asked so many questions that they put us in the corner and said, here's some coloring crayons, and because I was in the 4th grade Sunday school class, and obviously I should have been like in 101, because I knew nothing. Like, I didn't know what an apostle was. I didn't know what that word meant. I didn't know Jesus had a posse of people that were like his dudes. I knew nothing. So the Baptist church wasn't quite for me, just because it was an older church and we weren't there very often. My grandmother, later in life, stopped attending just because of physical ability, not because of belief. But so later on in life, I'm in high school, I'm in middle school, I meet more people who are Christian. Most everybody is Christian. And then I'm in Texas at this point. We've moved to Texas, but I'm not living where my grandparents live. And my friends were telling me about Jesus and the same kind of zealotry. Because again, we're in middle school now, So this is like 6th, 7th, and 8th. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And they're telling me, well, you're going to go to hell if you don't believe in Jesus. And I'm like, I don't want to go to hell. It's like, wait a minute. I don't understand this whole concept, because I'm like, I have to believe in this person I don't know anything about, or I'm going to just go to hell. And, that didn't get me to be very endearing with religion. And then in high school, still not attending church, by the way. In high school, I decided, you know what? What is this? I said, I'm going to read the New Testament, or I'm going to read the Bible. And this is before I knew the Bible was in books. And I just opened up the Bible, looked at the first thing. It's Genesis. Start reading Genesis. I'm okay with it. And then I get to, it starts like with, 7 days or whatever. I'm just like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. This is before I understood abstract thought versus just absolute. So for me, it was just like, that's not possible, until I realized that there's no definition for days, and the time is conceptual, not day 1, day 2, day 3, like we think 24-hour cycles. So I'm like, okay, so this could happen. And then, so in high school, I'm like, I need all my friends I didn't have very many friends, let's be honest. I had a few friends, and my few friends were religious, but not religious. Like, either they were extremely religious and went every week and super, devout, or they were like, whatever. And the super devout people, always, in my experience, the people that were my friends, this is a generalization, just the people that were my friends that were zealots became the people who had the most issues, and had falling outs, and then became unbelievers. So, I was like, well, this is weird. I was more of a questioner, questioning everything. And so I went to church, several churches with friends in high school, and I said, well, what church do you go to? Let me go visit. So I started visiting all these churches, and then I said, you know what? In high school is when I, believed in Jesus Christ as our Savior, and and from that point on, I looked for a church, and I was in 10th or 11th grade, and I remember doing it. I was walking home from school, and I was thinking, I believe this. I do believe this. I believe that Jesus Christ is our Savior. I believe it. And I had gone through, I know about the Muslim faith. I've known about, Judaism. I've known about all the different denominations now at this point of Christianity. I've known of other religions, like Zoroastrians. Like, there's a lot of religions in India, variations of Hindu, variations of Buddhism, variations of lots of different religions. So I was very aware now of everything. And still novice, but I knew more things existed. And so I ended up going to a bunch of non-denominational churches. My father was a non-believer. He didn't support my religious anything. Then in college, I jumped to high school, college. I'm not an attendant anywhere. I'm just kind of like, well, I believe in Jesus, and that's about it. Not baptized. So in college, I had met a friend, and she was my best friend, still is one of my best friends. We are less close now just because she has children and I don't, and when you have kids, your whole life is different than single people, or not single, but married people without children. And so her life has revolved around her kids for the last 20 years. But originally, she was dating a guy, and for me to hang out and see her more, I would go hang out with her on Saturdays at church, where she was being paid to watch the nursery kids, and they were having Saturday night service. And then the whole thing was we hang out with I hang out with her. Then we sat through service. And then this was at the Episcopal Church, and then it went through a huge split. And then that group of people split from the Episcopal Church to the Charismatic Episcopal Church. And at that point, I was like, I'm all in. I'm hanging out with my friend. I'm enjoying it. I join it because while I still I'm attending the Episcopal Church at this point. They have split to the Charismatic Episcopal Church. And so was I in college still? Okay. So the home church they split it off to fell apart after about a year, maybe not even a year, because of when it got big enough that they needed to split to a building. There was dissension on buildings. Buildings don't just happen. There's paperwork and business, and you have to have a commitment of a group of people. They're not free, and there was a dissension between the clergy and the lay people, and so that home church just collapsed, right? And then, so I'm like, well, now what do I do? So now I go to the regular Episcopal Church again, and I found one that I used to be next to the college I used to go to, so I'd start going there. And I went there for 2 years solid. And that's where I was baptized, and my friends' new in-laws became my sponsors, so they were my godparents. Later on, they ended up divorced. My godfather's no longer alive. My godmother's alive, but she hasn't attended church at all in years. But they were the ones that brought me essentially to the Episcopal Church. So I loved the Episcopal Church, met my husband. He's an Episcopalian. We ended up getting married in the Episcopal Church. Things happened. I left that church because I didn't like the business practices of making my church experience a business. Tithing, I understand. But in order to get married in that church, I had to essentially rent the building. It was very weird. They don't do that anymore because I was a member, but I was baptized there. Then we moved to the town I live in now. A series of other churches in between. I went to some more non-denominational churches. I went to more Episcopal churches, but this whole split has been happening all through denominations because there's this more conservative factor, less conservative factor. So main denominations have become more conservative and accepting, and splinter groups and non-denominational has become more conservative. So it's reverse. When I was in college, it was the opposite, right? Now it's the reverse. Now the non-denominationals tend to be more conservative, and the denominations are more liberal, and that's caused more fracturing and splintering. So technically, long story super short, I'm in the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church I currently attend just went through a split now. So there's people who belong to the United Methodist Church, and now there's people who belong to the Global Methodist Church, and it's just, I have lost my church home. It's been tumult. I've had issues because I am more of the liberal side, and I have issues with some of the more conservative doctrines. So I am back to square one. So when I was having that bad day Sunday, that's the day they voted, and Erin said God talked to her to give me this, and I'm like, you have no idea how much of a bad day I've had. None. And so here we are. Let me make sure this is still recording, because I've had... Oh no, it's still recording. My camera stopped recording, and I've become now nervous of it. But so she just gave me this New Testament, which I really appreciate, because I am going through the New Testament right now as a read through of the whole New Testament in 90 days, and I'm halfway, and this will help. I have a hard time with tiny print, but not impossible, and I really appreciate the gift. I appreciate the bag. I appreciate this more than the bag. I mean, I love the bag. That bag will never go anywhere. I will use this bag and love this bag. This is now my Erin bag. I love this bag. This will never leave my collection. I will never get tired of a black Florentine leather satchel. Ever. There's a reason this bag has a cult following. And to the 3 people who did buy this bag from you, I don't know what is happening in their life, but apparently God was talking to them too, because I really needed this, and I so appreciate the gift. And the gift of the friendship, the gift of the communication we had, the gift of talking. We were talking about, she's not religious, but she is of faith, and she was telling me about a sermon, a podcast she was listening to, and I downloaded it, and I was listening to it, and the very next day, Monday, I'm talking to a friend of mine, and they said, hey, because we're going through this whole Methodist journey together. He's also at the Methodist Church. He said, yeah, well, we went to a new church this week. It is the Gateway church. I'm like, wait, what? Gateway? I know that name. That's the one I'm listening to in California. And he's like, yes, well, they have a branch here where we're at. And we went. It's non-denominational. And the pastor originally is from a Baptist background. So in the hierarchy of religion, it's some Catholic, Baptist, Methodist as the top three in the numbers game of the United States, right? So for people who are not in the United States, this probably sounds ridiculously crazy and complicated, but after the Baptist and Methodist are all part of the Protestant Reformation that came from the Catholic Church. So basically in England, Martin Luther and a bunch of people split from the Catholic Church and then made these Protestant denominations. So the root is still the Catholic Church and the same Bible. It's just different versions of doctrine, right? So it is a lot. We get the freedom to make these choices, which I appreciate, because it was there's places in this world where you can't have freedom of religion and you can't ask questions and you can't change your mind. You're kind of stuck with the religion that you're born into and you have to be that way. And I don't. I was kind of born into Christianity and Buddhism, and as my mom says, you can be Buddhist and Christian. It just tends to be that most Christians are not also Buddhist, because they tend to be, you must be this way, you must believe this way, or else. And I'm much more liberal in my views. I don't think it's as narrow-minded. And when I say this, like, my twin sister, she's part of the LDS Church. I'm part of the Methodist Church. My mother is Buddhist. My father was Baptist. So nobody is one thing, and belief is, I'm not going to tell people which way and what to do. I'm just not. Which is why, anyway, this is a very long video for me to say thank you, Erin. Thank you for this bag. I absolutely appreciate it. I'm going to publish this live today, real time. So this is a video between the videos. And I want to say thank you for everybody who comments and reaches out to me. And if you do have a problem with my personal religious beliefs and you feel like you don't want to follow me anymore, I'm okay with that. That's completely okay. And I'm accepting of all anything except for hate speech, because that's just pointless. You're not going to change people's opinions by being mean and ugly to people. So be positive, and when we have the choice to be what we can be, let's be kind. Have a great day. Bye.